I'd like to say all praises to Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, peace and blessings to the brothers out there doing the works in truth and in sincerity. My name's Kanawat. Today I'm going into a lesson about a black settlement up here in Ontario, Canada. It's called Priceville. Was once a black settlement, but it's been destroyed, due to Esau, destroying it, man, and driving the people out of there. I saw this video on a guy's channel. He's a reprobate now, but he was once a part of our camp. But it was a good upload, and that's what led me to do this lesson here, based upon my own research. So it says Priceville is a small village in the southwest corner of the municipality of Grey Highlands, Grey County, Ontario, Canada. Priceville is located on Grey Road 4 east of Durham and southwest of Flesherton. The village is very attractive due to the rolling topography, the Meanding Saugeen River, and the well-preserved and restored old buildings. Now let's look into the history. It says the first settlers were African Americans who established a small settlement along Old Durham Road. These were so-called slaves, or the slaves who escaped from America, and they settled here. And there were already slaves already in Canada already. Even there was slavery in Canada, just like how there was slavery in America. So there was a lot of slaves already settled here in Canada. It says the first settlers were African Americans who established a small settlement along Old Durham Road, now Durham Road B, east of the village. Here they built a log school, a log church, established a cemetery. Many of these early settlers later moved to Collingwood, Oro, or Owen Sound. All that remains to commemorate this community is a cairn and a refurbished gravesite at the intersection of County Road 14. Then it says the discovery and refurbishment of the cemetery is documented in the 2000 National Film Board of Canada film Speakers for the Dead, co-directed by Jennifer Holness and David Sutherland, now sued Sutherland. It says Gaelic speaking Scottish people arrived, but this article doesn't really go into what happened to those relics and those tombstones and those sites. They were destroyed by the so-called white man, by these Edomites, man. Our people were living pretty comfortable amongst themselves, separate, but Esau always has to destroy anything, man. And anything that we do where we try to separate ourselves from him, he doesn't want us to be free from that. Esau doesn't want us to be free from him. So what does he do? He creates confusion, and destroys and he destroyed our community, man. Like that's what he always does. If we establish a Black Panther party, or anything where we try and elevate ourselves, they always have agents, or they outwardly just destroy us, man. I'm gonna go into another article. We're still referring to Priceville, Ontario. It says it's titled Town Buries Legacy of Black Settlers. Priceville, Ontario. Some say only the dead in this town can speak the truth about how a virtually all black settlement in Canada turned virtually all white. But then some of the living won't let them. For years, the history of this rural settlement in southwestern Ontario was wrapped in spooky silence. Photographs disappeared. Grave sites were plowed over, and tombstones from the black cemetery were stolen, hidden in stone piles, used as home plates in baseball games and as stepping stones in wet basements. So yeah, Esau doesn't have no respect, man, of persons. Where our people were buried, they had their own cemetery, with their tombstone for their loved ones. But what does the devil do? He destroyed it. And made sport of their of their solemn of something solemn, man. He made sport of us, man. And so Esau has to pay for all these things what he did, man. Make me get a scripture. Esau's a damn devil, man. He's gonna pay for all that stuff what he did, man. Yeah, so he has to pay for everything what he did, man. Alright, so let me get a scripture, man. The scripture says, as you have done, so shall be, if he has done unto my chosen, so shall it be done unto you, man. I believe it's in Jeremiah. It's like here. I believe it's in Jeremiah, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, it's like here. And the scripture says, as you have done unto my chosen, so shall be done unto thee, man. I can't find the scripture at the moment. Yeah, here's the scripture, Jeremiah 30:16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured. And all thy adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil. And they that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. Because, yeah, all these other nations have done, mainly Esau, just prey upon us, man. And what was Esau doing? He's preying upon the people of Priceville, people of Africaville, people of Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street, the people of of these different amongst Gad, of these different tribes, that wherever they dwelt, Esau was a prey upon them, man. So now it's gonna flip, and we're gonna be the now we're gonna be hunting you guys as prey, man. The Most High's gonna flip the script, because you guys been doing this for hundreds of years unto our people, man. And you're still doing it to this day. That's why we're we're like the so-called minority in Canada and America, and we make up the highest bulk of people in prison populations. Why is that? It says, for years, the history of this rural settlement in southwestern Ontario was wrapped in a spooky silence. Photographs disappeared, grave sites were plowed over, and tombstones from the black cemetery were stolen, hidden in stone piles, used as home plate in baseball games and as stepping stones in a wet basement. It was as if the town were trying to erase the existence of black pioneers who settled in this area in the early 1800s. Hide the fact that some of the whites who came here later married some of the blacks. Hide the fact that many generations later some white people still live in this town may not be white at all, just a drop, they used to say. There is a lot of history people don't know about. Howard Sheffield, whose black ancestors live in Priceville, about 100 miles northwest of Toronto. The people wanted to cover that history up because it relates back to them. So there's a lot of tears amongst them, and there's probably, I'm sure that there's I'm sure that there's Israelites amongst them, but they look like the other nations, or they look like Esau, and they don't wanna some of them don't wanna admit to the fact that they had black ancestors, because I'm sure like how Esau was popping our woman, and Jake was popping their woman, you best believe, so there's definitely Israelites up there, and there's tares, there's Edomites still up, there's tares amongst the wheat, man, Says eventually, the only trace that black people had ever in Priceville working the land and building homes and a school was a cemetery. So yeah, man. So like you guys destroyed all of our other things. So I'm sure that they had many other things up there other than just being buried there, man. There was many things there, but Esau destroyed it because Canada is a very racist place. They talk about how America was racist and stuff for slavery. Canada is very racist and worse because they destroy a lot of our historical evidence, so to speak, up here. They destroy a lot of so-called black history in Canada, man. They don't push it in school, in media. It's hard to access on the internet. Our history is suppressed by the Canadian government. That's why the Mosai is making all these things come out, all these articles and documentaries come out, man. He's releasing all these stuff, man. And he's making us expose it, man. He's making us lift up the skirt of you devils, man. That's what we're doing right now. We're lifting up the skirt of you devils, man. Let me get that scripture. Yeah, we're lifting up the skirt, man. Of all the lies. All the lies, man. All the lies that's been told, man. When there's certain scripture where it talk about lifting up the skirt, or so to speak, of the whore, man. So we're exposing the truth, man. These lies that's been told to our people, man. This is Revelation 12 and 14. And to the dragon, Revelation 12 and 13. When the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And the dragon was talking about the Roman Empire, the pagan Roman Empire, man. And the man-child was Yahushua. When they decree, when the Herod, when he forgot word that the Messiah was going to be born, he had all the firstborn of males slewed, so they persecuted our people. Just they didn't manage to get the Messiah, man. But eventually he was he was captured. He was captured and killed by the Romans, by the hand of the Jews, man, of our people, man, who gave him up unto death, man. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly in the wilderness. And who's the woman? It represents Israel. into a place where she is nourished for a time and at times and half a time from the face of the serpent. So that was there in 70 AD when we were in the land of Israel, and we had to flee from the Roman persecution, man, into Africa, into West Coast Africa. Mainly is where a lot of Israelites fled, as well as Central Africa, East Africa. Our people fled from the face of these devils, man. And we went into the land of Ham, to blend in amongst these dark nations, amongst these dark Hamites, man. Until the time that we were captured by the Hamites and sold into slavery to the so-called white man, the Arabs. It's a slave trade. The Arabs, white man, the so-called Africans or the Hamites or whatever, they had a slave trade with us, and they captured us wherever we dwelt, and they sold us unto our enemies, So that's why it says that we were there and nourished for a time, and we came over here in slavery, and served hardcore bondage, And then, and the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he may cause her to be carried away by the flood. So what's the water, man? Those lies that we're taught, by the so-called white man, whether in school, TV, church, in every aspect of life that we know, we are taught lies, man. But now we come to the realization as to who we are through the spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, through the spirit of the Most High and His Son, man. The Most High, He brought us back to life, man. He's bringing us back to life, and He's making us grow strong, man. In our strength, man. He's making us youthful again, And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth. So yeah, how the earth helped the woman through archaeological finding, whether through the icons, archaeological findings, in different places throughout the earth, so to speak, articles, many things, man, news, that's what's helping us, man. What's making everything valid, and so it's making us able to prove our points through the Bible easier, man, because we have historical evidence, we have as well as like scientific evidence now, and all kind of evidence showing that we're the children of the Most High, showing who Esau is, going into these other nations, exposing everything, man, exposing Esau, man, exposing the lies that's been told, man, so that's how when it said the earth helped the woman, that's how it's helping us, man. It's helping us to expose these damn devils, man. So, and the dragon was wroth with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which kept the commandments of Yahweh and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai. So yeah, this is what's gonna happen right now. There's gonna be a time which we're in this time now, when Esau's gonna make his move on the Israelites, on those who go out there in the highways and byways, who teach the word, man, and who's pushing his downfall, man. Esau's gonna try and make his move, but the Lord's gonna make, as soon as you make your move, then the Lord's gonna make His move, man, and completely destroy you guys, man. Your whole plan and your whole operation, man, it's gonna come to naught. All right. So with that, I'd like to say all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and much love, salutations to the brethren out there doing the works in truth and sincerity. I'd like to say all praises to Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, Kwam Yasha, and death and destruction to Edom as well as the other nations, and Kwam Yasha. Shalom.